So it's minus a few degrees Celsius at the moment. It's been snowing for a few days and we have a pretty good amount of snow. My name is Arnoldur. I'm a landscape photographer, little bit of a street photographer too, but what I do not know a lot about is forest photography. Now some of you might be asking yourself, but is forest photography something different than, regular type of photography? Well, for me, it is quite a lot of different. I come from Iceland, so we don't really have that many trees, but I live in Sweden and now in northern part of Sweden, and here we have a bunch of them. So I wanna be good as my friend Ulle, who's insane at forest photography. But before we go into the snow, then there is a little shed just over there. We're gonna see if we can frame it up in some nice way and start with at least one photo there until we move into the forest. Alright, so we made it to the little shed that is just over here. I'm framing up the photo using the rule of thirds, but conditions, they're looking pretty nice. I was hoping for a little bit more, more snow and more fog in the clouds. This is fog in the clouds, but this is something that we can absolutely change in post-production, so there's no problem, because we're starting to get a little bit here. We're starting to see a little bit of the sky, and I would just like to get this really moody, so I'm going to probably drag off the dehaze and whatnot. But here you can see, I have the photo like this, framing it up, something like this here, and then we just take the photo. So one thing I'm gonna try here is to put the photo. So one thing I'm gonna try here is to put the camera on a 10-second timer and run into the frame to get a little subject there and see how that looks, okay? And then we need to run. So I think this turned out pretty decently. I'm gonna do a few handheld shots here too, just cause, why not? And then we head into the forest. So we're getting close to the forest. It's just there. And I've been walking probably not that far, maybe 1 kilometer or something like that. But it's taking quite a lot of time because walking in a lot of snow like this is just, it's time consuming and a good cardio too. So I think we have a little bit more time until we arrive to the forest.
Alright, so here I noticed these two trees standing up in this winter landscape with both of the tree lines behind them creating kind of these leading lines as two fingers pointing to it. And I wanted to see if I could frame it up nicely, and I think it turned out pretty well.
This here could be pretty. Let me see. My shoes here, they're not too high. So I'm hoping there's no hole that I don't see. Then I'm really wet. And I have a quite high comb, Let's see. All right, so I made it into the forest. I know for you it looked like it just took a few seconds or a half a minute, but this actually taking me 1 or 2 hours to get here. There's quite a lot of snow, and I think we're gonna have a good time. Or I know we're gonna have a good time. But one thing that had always been hard for me when it comes to taking photos in the forest is that everything kind of looks the same. Maybe it's just my Icelandic brain talking, but we have trees all over us, and they kind of look the same. However, I do have a few shots that I want to take that I have thought about, and then I'm going to roam around to see if I can find something. Now, one thing that I'm thinking about here is that we put up the drone and get a top-down shot with me standing right there. And by the way, now I'm filming on my Sony camera again and color graded with my LUTs. Before I was just the Osmo Pocket 3, and This is obviously much better video quality. We have a bokeh and it just looks obviously like super good. But it's really nice, just the convenience of just whipping up this camera and it instantly connects with this. I'm not like endorsing this in any way. It's a nice little camera. You can get this for the GoPro, whatever you want. But for the convenience of creating the videos, I mean, I'm trying to make this simpler because I tend to complicate things for me quite a lot and always wanting to use the best gear that I possibly have. Anyway, let's put up the drone and see if we can capture some awesome shots, okay? Alright, so I just took the drone down. I think this turned out pretty decent, but I'm going to be honest with you, my friends. My hamstrings really cold. And now that I take off my gloves, my hands are starting to freeze quite a lot. So let's pack the drone down. And I have, like, there are more things I want to try. I mean, this forest is beautiful. I mean, snow like this, it's awesome, right? So there's one thing that I've always found quite challenging with, like, forest photography. I'm not sure if you agree with me on this, but to me, and my Icelandic brain, then I always think that like it kind of all looks the same, doesn't it? I point the camera and I got a cool bunch of, you know, tree shots. But I know from experience of like watching a bunch of photographers both here in Sweden and like in the continent of Europe, like there are bunch in the south, like Germany and even Canada and North America and all that have like massive forests, that I've seen that you can do a ton of cool stuff. And what I mean by a bunch of cool stuff is like a lot of variety, a lot of different types of shots. So I think it just comes down to me practicing this and the eye, like what I'm seeing. Because if you show me a big mountain or rivers or whatever, then I know a bunch of different ways to shoot that because I'm used to it. But here I'm not so used to. So this is really fun. Plus the conditions in here, like in the forest, pretty damn solid. Or what do you think? All right, so I just put on the 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 and let's see if we can, is there anything that interests us with this focal length right here. And then yeah, let's just walk here. I mean, doesn't look bad, right? But maybe you like understand me now when I say like everywhere looks like the same. And I don't understand how these photographers are like finding different like frames here. So please, my friends, if you can help me out, this is a challenge for me. So let's see. This is a pretty cool frame. Maybe we should get some details. I mean, look at the snowfall here. Look at the snow here. Look at this. Wow. Snow is beautiful. Here we have something. I'm just wishing like that we had a person there or maybe an animal to have some sort of a subject or like a tree standing up there. To me, like when I'm here, the struggle I have is that it becomes a lot of like very chaotic. You understand? Because there's just like a bunch of trees. So unless I'm like framing myself up somehow, then I'm yeah, let's just practice together, my friends. All right, so I just put up the camera like this here, and the plan is to use this frame that you can see all over me here, and frame me up with it, like me and as a subject. You understand what I'm saying? I think this will turn pretty good. I'm gonna try this on a few different places and see if I can find like the perfect spot. But here I'm using the trees that you see above me here and I'm putting the camera on 10 seconds like we did before, and then just running the frame. And I think we can also create some cool steps if I walk hard enough, you know, so I can get this a little leading line. Now I'm not sure if this is a wide enough lens. This is the 20mm. I would like to have wider lens here, but we can use like generative expand if we need to make the frame even bigger, and that could look cool. So let's be resourceful with what we have, you know. Now when I'm doing photos like this alone, I always like review them here on the screen just to see how I was positioned. You understand what I'm saying? Because I might be like positioned differently, so I always look at it and then I do this a few times. Now the problem when you're doing this like back and forth in the winter is you get like these tracks here and it turns out a little bit ugly. So maybe you have like one shot or try to walk always in the same step, you know? By the way, all the photos that I'm throwing up are edited using my preset pack as a base. It's not that like magic solution, but it speeds up my workflow a ton and ensures like a tone that I like. So here we are back at the river and we have some different types of trees here. This looks pretty cool. How should we frame everything up here? Let me see. I'm not sure the camera can capture it, but everything is just so pretty here. And I'm trying to figure out a way to show that. And maybe we can even get the lake here. Lake, this is not a lake, this is like a small creek or a little river. Feel that I should maybe use this, especially like handling the camera with these big gloves, not so easy. Now one photo I took the other day that I want to share with you, because I'm a little bit proud of it and I think it looks cool, is this one here. It's a top-down shot with a drone off I drove my Jeep there, and it's not that far away from here, but I had this in my mind that I waited until it was not totally dark, but kind of, and then I drove in one of these forest roads like you can see here, and wanted to find a place where the trees were a little bit close, but still a road, and I thought it turned out great. Now I'm still getting the hang of living in this area. I've been living in Stockholm, Sweden, the capital of Sweden, for the last few years. You guys know I'm from Iceland. I mean, the name is like that Icelandic guy. But you know, my wife is a Swede, so that's why I live here. However, we were a little bit tired of like the city, so we decided to move out far up north. Now it's really cold up here. It's totally different from living in downtown Stockholm. We live on a rural farm. To me, that is absolutely awesome. And there is just so much here for winter activities and summer activities and in the realm of photography, and I wouldn't want to have this any other way. Now I just want to share this with you, but I'm enjoying finding out new frames, because when you live in a place for a long time, then you kind of know the frames. I'd been in Stockholm for 7 years, so when I went out photography, I kind of went almost the same like little round. I tried to do something new, but I knew where the cool frames were, you know, so it's kind of captured again and again. So now I'm just enjoying finding new frames and just figuring out what it means like living like this right now, as I do, you know. So here I'm just using this as some sort of a leading line up, and just maybe something like this up with the. This is pretty cool. By the way, I'm currently doing a challenge that is quite simple, but also pretty hard at the same time. And last time I did it, it took my photography from not knowing anything to landing my first jobs, and just like, it kickstarted everything for me. And I'm doing it again. If you want to know what challenge this is, and it's honestly like a way to take your photography and level it up so fast that it feels like cheating, then my friend, you should watch this video next.